What's up guys, Clark here and welcome back to the channel. Listen, we're talking relationships today. Man, is there a lot of advice out there. Is it confusing or what? It's like navigating a minefield every time you open your phone. Hot takes coming at you. You know, everyone is a love bombing, gaslighting narcissist now. If you're a dude, nothing you do can be authentic. It has to be pre-calculated based on high status and confidence and how others will view you. You can't even text someone back without running it through your head. Should I wait 2 minutes? Because if I do it now, it'll come off as needy and they don't like neediness. So my intention is to share 10 pieces of honest relationship advice that no one ever told you. All right, here we go. We have to start here because it's the best piece of advice. Stop looking for the right person, start focusing on becoming the right person. Everyone's obsessed with finding Mr. Right, Mrs. Right. What do I want in a relationship? But like the real work in how you attract good people for long term with you is to look in the mirror and do the inner work and say, am I worthy of attracting that person? Yes, there's a time to be proactive and look for people and dates and you want to meet people, that's totally fine. That's not the advice is saying don't do that. It's saying prioritize on becoming the best version of you. Do the inner shadow work that you need to do of like why last relationships failed. Maybe there's truth in that. Get yourself in the best shape you can. You know, up your appearance to the best it can be. Really understand your core values and what's important to you so you're not just agreeable and going along with other people. We could keep going. The whole channel is about like up-leveling and whatnot, but yeah, this is the most important. Stop looking, start becoming. Number 2, this is the myth of the one. You know, this Disney fairy tale of soulmates. This is kind of like the adult version of Santa Claus where we want so badly to believe it. And then when we realize there's no such thing, we're kind of crushed. But I'm harsh on this because not only is that the biggest lie for your relationships, but it's incredibly dangerous. What that is subconsciously communicating is that at the sign of any disagreements, slights, arguments, they might not be the one for you. And people are way too quick to give up on relationships instead of pushing through, working and building something. And so they jump, believing in the one, I gotta go find my one because there's a soulmate that's gonna complete me. All my problems are gonna go away when this person appears. So they bounce from 3-month relationship, 1-month relationship, 6-month relationship. Before you know it, a whole decade goes by. Especially now, guys, with endless options on your phone. I mean, just pull it out and there's like 5 different apps, thousands of people, one swipe away. And why would you stay in a relationship and fix something when you could just leave and go find the one, hit the eject button and swipe, 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 okay, maybe someone else is easier. Obviously, there are people you are way more compatible with than not. I am not saying that you can make any relationship work. Sometimes it's just a square peg in a round hole. It's never going to work. But this advice is saying that even when you find the one, it's going to take work. And when you ditch fantasies, you get to choose to live in reality, which is beautiful. You don't find the one, you create it with the one you're with. You need relationships outside of your relationship. My relationships got so much better when I didn't require one person to check every single box that I needed. If I didn't feel fully supported in a business sense, well, of course, she's not my business partner. Why am I trying to make her my business partner? Go talk to your business buddies about that kind of conversation. You know, you see this too with women, like, oh, he doesn't care about all the inner workings of my relationships at work or friend circles. And it's like, yeah, he's a dude. Go talk to other girls about that. And this is gonna be different for everyone, but identify what's really important in the relationship. And if they can provide that, it's totally okay to get the other things met elsewhere. Hey, if you're liking this video, you'll love our Refusing to Settle newsletter. I send out every Saturday morning to you with some of the best tips that have changed my life and I know will make an impact on yours. It's free. I'll link it down below. Just put in your best email. It'll be sent right to you. All right, here's the next tip. If you want to be in a healthy future relationship, your previous exes, they don't exist. How do you do this? Well, the easy place to start, delete them off every social media account. You might be following them on the weirdest places too. Make sure you get those like MyFitnessPal, Venmo. Unfollow them, delete all the photos. If that's too intense, back it up on a physical USB drive, put it somewhere where you can't access it on your cloud when you're searching for something and boom, their face pops up, or like you're going through your photos and boom, it's them. Of course, that's still triggering and why you can't move on, because they're still very much a part of your life. What do we call it when we follow someone on social media? You're following them. 20, 30 years ago, it used to be if you broke up with someone, you would never see them again. Maybe in 2 decades, you'd bump into them at a supermarket like a bad Hallmark movie. Here's the good news. You don't even need to let go of them, because the person you're thinking of doesn't actually exist. It's like a concoction in your mind of past memories and euphoric moments and snapshots. Like even the photos you have of that person in you where you're like happy and smiling. I mean, I'm willing to bet there was a few times where before you took that photo, you guys got in a fight. You really need 3 more? We just took 5 photos. Come on, okay. My point is that like you only look at the good moments when it ends. It's actually how your brain works. You want to look it up, peak end fallacy, that you remember the peak moments and how something ended. You don't remember the in-between, the details. Peak end snapshot in brain, filed away, that's your ex. But when you unpack it, you remember all the times you weren't compatible, you fought, you didn't treat each other properly, that you ended for a reason. Do whatever you gotta do. There's no judgment here, that's not my point, but if you're serious about it, yeah, get over them so you can set yourself up for better relationships in the future. All right, next on my list. The internet is keeping you single. Be really careful whose rules you're playing by. This goes for all advice, but specifically with relationships, you'll hear things like, only start dating when, only look for this kind of person, here are the red flags. Like social media can feed you a toxic playbook of advice that makes relationships harder, not easier, and it's arbitrary. And whose rules are they? That's the question you really gotta answer. Like, are they your rules or are they someone else's? Speaking from personal experience, I knew someone really close to me worked with energy dynamics. He'd go on these retreats, he'd work super close with this person, this guru who taught, masculine energy and then divine feminine energy and the attraction it creates. And then one day he stopped. He stopped going, he stopped reading it, stopped following it. And I asked him what happened. Yeah, I went to those events and everyone was single. And their relationships were a mess. And the guy teaching it was single too and never been married, never had a successful relationship. I'm putting this in here because there's a difference between theory that sounds good and actually works in the mud. And that, yeah, we can overcomplicate things. And I've been guilty of that in the past because it's fun, it's theoretical, it feels like you're learning something, it makes sense, there's enough analogies to connect the dots. But just practically speaking, is it the best foundation to build a relationship on? I don't know. But if you get too caught in these theory camps, it becomes a dogma. And now you're filtering every action through that dogma instead of experiencing things for as they are or people for as they are. Or you're making it way more complicated. Not every action they take has to be, okay, how does my divine masculine have to respond to this feminine? What are they gonna think? Like, it's totally fine to drop all that and just operate for as things are in your relationship, not someone else's, not someone's theory, but you and that person. This one, stop letting outside opinions affect your relationships. My mom hates him. Of course she does. All you do is complain about him on the phone. My friends say he's toxic and controlling. Of course they do. Your conversations are all about the negative things about him. Think about it outside of the context of a relationship. If someone complains to you about their job over and over and over again, are you going to be really supportive of them working at that job? Or at the slightest hints that they're thinking about leaving the job, are you gonna be like, leave the job, please, I don't want to hear about it anymore, and all you do is complain about it, leave it. Even though this person might just be letting off steam, they might actually deep down like a lot of the parts of their job. They might have worked hard for this job. They might be really good at this job and compatible with it. And that, I think, is why we have to be careful talking about our relationships to people. It has to be balanced, and we can't just dump everything that's not working onto your mom or your friends or anyone. If you have problems in your relationship, the only person you should be talking to about that is the person you're in a relationship with, flat out. That's a personal boundary you should set, and that has served us extremely well in a relationship. All right, next piece of advice for you. It's always said that relationships are 50-50. You've heard that before, right? They give 50, you give 50. They got to meet you where you are. It's equal effort. That's not true. It's 100-100. You got to be all in. Some people have a tendency to hold back in a relationship. I've had this in the past where, okay, if I don't go all in with this person, right, I keep a little left in the tank in the back here, then if it goes south, as a protection mechanism, now I'm not gonna be hurt as much. It's amazing that that little 20% really does prevent you from having anything that works, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It doesn't work because you're holding back, or they sense you're holding back and they hold back. Relationships aren't 50-50, they're 100-100, and that has helped me immensely, is like, don't hold back, don't play defense. As much as you can, be on offense, go all in, and if it doesn't work, so be it. It doesn't work, you'll recover. You're not gonna die. It's not gonna ruin you. But at least you know you explored it fully and it didn't work, and that's okay. You can check it off and it's never going to work next. But it has a way better shot of working if you're all in, just like they are. So we're talking a lot about the difference between dating and relationships. And the best way I know how to explain this that clicked with me when I saw it for the first time is a chart. This is from Jonathan Haidt's The Happiness Hypothesis. There's two types of love that you need to understand. The first is passionate love. Now this burns hot. It's the first 6 months. It's the Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's all the reality TV love shows that we see. But then a fight happens. You're not who you said you were. People's true colors come out. Sometimes you don't always like that, or sometimes you realize they're not perfect, unflawed person you had in your mind. Or the attraction just fades for whatever reason, and it just dips down, dips down, dips down. But if we extend this chart from 6 months to 60 years, the other type of love is compassionate love. And this is where, yeah, you have those first initial in love, peak euphoric experiences, but you work through it, you push past it, and then this type of love builds and builds into something bigger. Allowing your relationship to morph and evolve is great advice, and one that doesn't get spoken about enough. And this is what relationships are versus dating, which actually segues perfectly to the next point. There's a term I heard for the first time a couple years ago, love addiction. And before I get too far ahead, just to explain it, what do drugs do? They hijack your body, they make you feel euphoric, they make you obsess over it, you want more of it, it's never enough. Well, being in love, tell me something that doesn't hijack your entire body, like when you're really into someone, they're really into you. You know, you're checking your phone 50 times a day, every little vibration, you pull it out, you're stressing over every single text because you don't want to lose this feeling or them. Now, I'm not saying that's bad or unhealthy, but if you obsess over it like anything, it becomes an addiction and unhealthy. And compared to that feeling, I think for some people, relationships feel a little boring and dull. And if they struggle to be in one, they go back to this euphoric feeling. This is highly dependent on where you are in your stage, right? If you're in your 20s and you're not even looking for like a serious relationship, it's fine. There's no judgment here. But like, if you are into serious long-term relationships and you're like, why does this feeling keep fading? It's not fading, it's evolving into something different, from that passionate to compassionate love. And you have to recalibrate a little bit. Anyway, I'm ranting here, but yeah, it's not bad being short-term relationships, whatever your goal is, but just be wary of that addiction. Like anything good in excess can become bad. All right, this one is stop using therapy speak to dodge your own bullshit. This might be the hottest take in here. The term therapy speak are terms that therapists would say, or that have a lot of psychological backing. They come into the lexicon of our everyday vocabulary. It's a label that you can slap onto something and just kind of like, yep, that's what it is, and move on. You know, instead of hearing someone out, it's gaslighting. They're gaslighting me. Now I don't have to hear them out. Instead of, someone who I just wasn't compatible with or was self-centered, they're a narcissist. All right, narcissist. Well, guess what? If everyone you've dated is a narcissist, That's a problem. That says something about the type of people you're going after. That says more about you. Instead of acknowledging their concerns, they're automatically controlling, oh, that's controlling behavior. I saw it in a TikTok video. Obviously gaslighting exists. Obviously narcissistic people exist. Obviously controlling behavior exists. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just be careful of labeling things with therapy words. It becomes dismissive behavior. And just like any label, it's an easy way to just glaze over what's really happening if you dig deeper. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Appreciate ya, love ya, and make sure you sign up for our Refusing to Settle newsletter. Lots of cool things dropping down there that I don't share on this channel. And yeah, see you in the next one. Stop settling, start living. Peace.